I'd like to go through a little bit the Gemara on Hanukkah a little bit. I know it's Kemach Tachun. Kemach Tachun. No, get to the Rambam. Give me a second to the Rambam. See, the clarity of the Rambam was unbelievable. The way he managed to summarize the sugya and write it so clear. There's no confusion. And you can see by the way he wrote how he understood the Gemara. No? So we all know the famous Gemara, the famous Rambam, sorry, in Halacha Yud Bet, and he brings it, it's based on the Gemara which says, Rav Huna haragil bener Chanukah ve'lo banim tamidei chachamim. There's something very special about the Ner of Hanukkah. We'll soon see that the Ashkenazim adopted the custom of lighting on Friday night, corresponding the members of the household. It comes from the Gemara Masechet Shabbat. It comes from Hanukkah. That's what again, Ner lechol echad ve'echad. We'll soon discuss. Only Ashkenazim. Sephardim may have borrowed the idea.
In India, they used to light loads of candles on Friday.
Right, seven. That was more for Kabbalistic reason. 7 corresponds to 7 Sfirot, which are the 7 Aliyot, and the 7 days of the week, and the 7. So, yeah, they used to light 7. Or corresponding to the Sephardim usually left their candle lightings for after 120. That's when they learned memorial candles for people. But Kol Echad, they never had a minhag. They used to have 7, or 2 or 7. That's how I used to light. And Yom Tov, 5, Yom Kippur, 6. Depends on how many aliyot. Yeah, that's how much they live. Now, mitzvat ner Chanukah, mitzvah habiba hi ad me'od. It's a very adorable, a very special mitzvah. If we get the right translation in English of habiba, very precious mitzvah. V'tzarich adam leizaher ba, and a person should be very careful. The Gemara promises that if a person is particular on nerot Chanukah and nerot Shabbat, Havilem banim talmidei chachamim, children which will illuminate Am Yisrael. Talmid chacham sheds light, and you're going to have children connected to candles you are particular. And what an opportunity there is. וצריך אדם להיזהר בה כדי להודיע הנס ולהוסיף בשבח האל. It's very, very strange. Comes Sukkot, we want to thank Hashem for going, כי בסוכות הושבתי, make a big commotion. It's become an industry, Sukkot now. You build a sukkah, and there's no two ways about it. It's a big thing what you're doing. Pesach, we make sure no chametz, matzot. We go to length. Purim, Seudah, Chanukah, massive miracle. All you have to do is light a candle. That's it. In the tefillah, I don't know, Hallel, but the mitzvah of Hanukkah is light a candle. Forget the donuts. Right? We're not selling donuts. Some accident happened. Some baker thought of the idea of connecting it to Hanukkah. It's actually got no oil content. Yeah, because the oil is only the outside, and the inside is dough. So where is the miracle of Hanukkah so much? The Iraqis used to have something called zalebia, which they make with honey and they fry it in oil, and it's so oily. Okay, so we go to the latkes. All these things are extras. The mitzvah is just simply, you want to give hoda'ah to Hashem? Just light a candle. It's unbelievable. It seems to be that symbolizes our milchama against the darkness of v'choshech al penei tehom, is referring to Galut Yavan. When they wanted us to be totally disconnected from Torah and mitzvot. They wanted our physical being to continue without any spirituality. That is what the Yevanim represent, and that's choshech. When the Torah says choshech al penei tehom, it's referring to the Rosh Shel Galut Yavan. That's Yavan. The Yevanim took care. We light a candle ki ner mitzvah v'torah or, ner Hashem nishmat adam. The opposite. Spirituality is what gives light, even in the darkest of places. And we wait for the dark time to light it, because we know, however dark, if we still got connection with Him, we still got connected, then we're able to light the darkest. So it means all you have to do is take that simple light, light it outside, and that's the way you acknowledge what exactly the Yemanim tried to do for us. So undisputed that the ness of Hanukkah, and Bemet, it's been the feature of the Jewish people all through the Galiyot. However persecuted we were taken from country to country, and we were taken with no belongings, nothing. People had to start from scratch. Well, then we turned into some kind of a light to the nation we went to. We are the light of the world. Why? Because we are connected to Hashem, connected to Olam. Ner Hashem Ishmat. We got the neshama, and we believe in the neshama, and we light candles. Okay? Now, the Rambam, I just want to share with you something which I think there is a machloket between the Rambam and the Tosafot, and it's actually quite a strong argument. I don't know if you've heard this side of the argument, but we all know the famous accusation we have that we follow the Tosafot and the Ashkenazim follow the Rambam, right? It's a false accusation. It's not right. It's not what happened. And then I saw that the Lechem Mishneh is actually on my side. They accuse us that we left the Rambam, and the Ashkenazim took the Rambam and we didn't. And yet the Sephardim went to Baalei Tosafot, the Ashkenazim didn't. After we learn this, we will realize that they are not doing like the Rambam, and we are doing like the Rambam. Alright? You're probably shocked. Let's learn the Gemara. I'll read you a piece of Gemara, and then we'll go to the Halacha, to the Rambam. Says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan. Our rabbis taught us in a Braita. No Mishnah mentions Hanukkah. You notice in Baba Kama there's an indication to Hanukkah, which is brought at the end of the page. Ner Hanukkah mitzvah nechatu hasara. It says in the Mishnah that if you have gamal shetaum pishtan, you got a camel with linen, flax, and he's going on a public domain, and his load was slightly overloaded, and it went into the shop, and it lit the whole shop. Bala gamal chayav. But if the shopkeeper left the candle outside the shop and the camel caught fire, then who has to pay for the damages? Who? The Bala Gamal doesn't have to pay anything. It's your fault for leaving it outside. The Gemara says the Bala Chanut is chayav, the shopkeeper, because you shouldn't have put the candle outside. However, the Mishnah says, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Bener Chanukah Patur. If it's a Ner, Chanukah, that's the only time it's mentioned. Actually, someone else it's mentioned, the Chanukah in the Mishnayot, Rabbi Masrot. Interesting, it seems to be that they were not allowed to publicly talk about the miracle of Hanukkah when they were in Galut, because it would cause problems. Where there was the Romans, didn't let them. You talk about an uprising which we did against Greeks. The Romans say, "What, you got plans?" So therefore, it's mentioned in the writer. Tanu Rabbanan. Says the Gemara, Mitzvat Chanukah ner ish ubeito. The mitzvah of Chanukah is ner ish ubeito. What does that mean? Ner ish ubeito. She said ner bechol bayit. What's ner ish ubeito? Ish is the balabayit. Ubeito is in his house. Seemingly, if you don't have a house and you're running in the streets, you're going from city to city, you don't have a house, should you light Hanukkah candle? Huh? L'chora you shouldn't, no? I think I heard the Psak from Rav Yitzchak Silberstein. He told the young soldiers if they're in the middle of Gaza and they should light on the tanks. He said, I'm not sure about the bracha. Now, halacha is you don't make bracha if you don't have a house. You're absolutely right. Ner ishu beito. Ve'amehaderin, those who want to fulfill the mitzvah in a more special way, ner lekol echad ve'echad. You should have a candle for each member of the household. I mean, you've got a 3-month-old baby, you're going to light a candle for that child. The reason I'm saying that is,
just one candle?
Make no mistake,
Every day.
the Gemara says nothing about individuals lighting. It talks about only one person lighting. and he comes to do a mitzvah in a more glorified, more precious, more special way, he'll take many candles corresponding the members of his household. So in this house, 10 people are living here, 5 people, you will light 5 candles.
5 candles every day.
Every day.
Not 8.
Every day, not 8.
No,
5. No.
Eight
For 8 days, 5 candles every day.
No.
Okay? The more the merrier. More lights, the better. So therefore, light more candles. Yeah, that's how you glorify the mitzvah. You make the mitzvah more special. Not just one minji light. You light a few, corresponding to them. That's Mehaderin. Someone once asked, never, what happens if someone is living on his own? So he'll never have an opportunity of doing Mehaderin. He has to skip to the Mehaderin Min Hamehaderin. No, all right. Because he can't afford it. So you're not going to be able to do 2 candles. He says it was unusual that people lived on their own in those days. It was unusual. People lived.
Maybe that is the Mahaderin. If you're doing one, that is really Mahaderin.
It's nothing.
It's
a Ikar mitzvah.
You have to have one person to do that.
But it's a Ikar mitzvah. That's it. You're not lighting more lights.
Yeah, but he's lighting for everyone in the house, which is just one.
Yeah, but you're not seeing any hidur in action. Had he decided not to do hidur, you'd also light one. So, it was uncommon for people to live on their own. Literally, it was uncommon. Right? Then maybe we'll go to what we're saying now. Mehaderin Min Hamehaderin, and those who want to do the mitzvah in a more special way, right? Bet Shammai Omrim, Bet Shammai say first day Madlik Shmone, first day like 8, second day 7, third 6, and so on and so forth. You go down and down. Bet Hillel said, Yom Rishon Madlik Ahad, Mikan Va'elach, Mosif Ve'olech. He increases. So now, simply, we all know, simply what the Gemara means to say, and it calls it Mehaderin Min Hamehaderin. So that means it's not 2 Mehadrins. You've got a choice. You want to do it this special way or this very special way. Seems to be one is going on the other one. No? You can argue. Not clear. Do it. You lit 5 for your 5 members of your household. The next night, 10, 50, 10. Double it. Every day, double and double and double for the days which are coming through. Like Bet Hillel says. Mosif ve'olech. Malim b'kodesh ve'lo moridim. You go up in kodesh. Tosafot raises a very interesting question. Very interesting question. What does Tosafot say? Tosafot says, I can't understand. So, we are telling you, we're instructing you that if you want to do the mitzvah in a very special way, you should do it corresponding the days of Hanukkah. First day 1, second day 2, 3, 4. Surely, if you have 5 people in your home, let's take the easy example. You have 10 people in your house, and you lit 10 candles the first night. If you're going to light 20 the second night, you're not going to be able, it won't be recognizable that it's the second day of Hanukkah. People will think there's simply 20 people in the house. That's why you lit 20 candles. So Tosafot draws a conclusion that it is not an option to be done above the first option. Meaning, it's not going on the members of the household. If you want to do again corresponding the days of Hanukkah, you have to scrap the first hidur. So I mean, basically what the Gemara says, Mehaderin Min Hamehaderin, was kind of telling you, this is how you should read it. If you want to do the mitzvah in a special way, light corresponding every night, corresponding to the members of the house. If you want to do the mitzvah in a very special way, don't do this hidur, do a different hidur. Light first night 1, 2. That means the Mehaderin Min Hamehaderin is not in addition to the first hidur. Okay?
You're doing less.
Huh?
You're doing less.
You're doing
less.
much less.
Yeah.
Much less. Can you imagine? If you had 10 people in the house, you'll never reach them. Even on the 8th night. You're absolutely right. You're doing less, seemingly. The problem I have is, before we do that, I want to read you out the Rambam, and I want to know whether that Ashkenazim are actually doing their Rambam's view. In order to... Kama nerot hu madlik beChanukah. Listen to the words of the Rambam, because you have to put an emphasis to certain words he's writing here and understand that you can't misinterpret this. How many candles should you light in Chanukah? Mitzvata sheye kol bait ubait madlik ner echad. The mitzvah of Chanukah is that one candle you light. So far so good. Ner ishu beito. Kol bait ubait. He didn't say the word ish, but it means kol bait ubait. Irrelevant to light it. Light just one candle. That's it. That's the mitzvah of Chanukah. Ben shayu anshe habayit merubah, whether there were many, whether there wasn't only one person, light one. Mehaderin Min Hamehaderin, someone wants to do a mitzvah in a better way. Madlik nerot keminyan anshe habayit. Does it say madlikin? Does it say hem yadliku? It says madlik. Who? The Baal Habayit. Makes sense. You want to make a mitzvah in a special way, you don't split up. You do the mitzvah in a special way. Can you imagine? Hidur mitzvah, someone else is doing the hidur, you're doing the ikar mitzvah. It doesn't make sense, does it? Huh?
I can point to shliach, right?
You can approach yourself, you, instead of you.
Yeah, so I mean,
But to do the whole thing.
it can't be a katan. Right?
Since when one does a mitzvah, one does the hidur? Is there such a thing? Hidur has to be on the mitzvah. So the Rambam says, that same person should like corresponding the people of members of that household. והמהדר את המצוות, והמהדר יותר על זה, someone wants to go על זה, on top of this you want to do even better, מצווה מן המובחר, מדליק נר לכל אחד בלילה ראשון, ומוסיף והולך בכל לילה ולילה נר אחד. You can argue that it means only one candle every day, but the Rambam clearly writes in the second halacha, Ketzad, what does it mean? Someone wanted to interpret, where did Rambam get this interpretation? It says maybe what it means that you have to add on is you have 10 members of the household. So on the first night you light 10 candles. Second night 11. Third night 12. 13, 14, 15. Add on corresponding the days which are coming. Who says you have to add on for all the members of the household? Where did the Rambam get such an idea? You know what the Rambam says? How should you do it? If you've got 10 people, the first night you light 10, second night 20, third night 30. You're going to get to the 8th day. Do you know how many candles you're going to light? 80 candles. I want you to experiment this. Yeah? How long does it take you to light 80 candles? To prepare when you talk, to light 80 candles. No. It's going to take you a chunk. It's going to take you a few good minutes to light so many candles. The Rambam says light 80 candles on the 8th day. Okay? Now, what bothered the Tosafot? Tosafot says, how will you know which night it is? Who needs to know which night it is?
Also,
I know. What's Tosafot's problem?
Also, between the basic mitzvah and the hidur, you also won't know which night it is. Because you don't know if the person's doing the hidur or the basic mitzvah. So you see one candle, you go, well, is it the first night or is he just doing the basic
Correct.
mitzvah? So the same question on Tosafot applies.
Yeah, but you don't have a choice. If you do the ikar mitzvah with no hidur, you'll be stuck with one every night.
Yeah, but
So people won't know which night it is. But you're right. Where does Tosafot get it? I read you out the Tosafot. It's a bit of a need understanding this, yeah? Says Tosafot. נראה לרי, רבנו יצחק, בבית שמאי ובית הלל לא קיים אלא נר איש וביתו. That when they said to do this Mehaderin Min Hamehaderin, it's going on נר איש וביתו, not on נר לכל אחד. Why? שכן יש יותר הידור. דאיקה הקרה כשמוסיף, it'll be not recognizable that he's adding on. שהוא כנגד הימים, אבל אם עושה נר לכל אחד, but if you're going to light, like the Rambam says, 10 or 20, 30, says, his לשון is, אבל אם עושה נר לכל אחד, אפילו יוסיף מכאן ואילך, Leika Ekera, Sheyizberu Shekach Yesh Bnei Adam Babayit. They will think that there's that amount of people in the house.
Where's
Who?
the concept from?
Who should think?
People.
Who are the people?
People
Who?
are heard of the show.
Ignoramus. People who are me'aratzim. People who don't know it's Chanukah. It sounds like a Chabad light in this. For people who don't know about Chanukah. They will see you lighting. Did they light themselves?
They don't say the mitzvah.
Or the Avaryanim?
No, they don't say the mitzvah.
They don't light candles?
Where's the concept?
So they don't know what night of Hanukkah it
No,
is?
it's not. No, you don't say the mitzvah itself.
Hmm?
You don't see it in the mitzvah.
Yeah, but what she is Beru, Svara, they will think that there's that many amount of people in the house. They won't know what night it is.
Yeah, and so what if they don't?
So that means Tosafot learned something which HaRambam didn't occur to him to learn that way. Tosafot must have understood in the Gemara that there's an inyan to notify, and you're responsible to notify people about what night of Hanukkah we are holding.
There's no.
Sorry?
Where's the concept? There's no hint of that anymore. That you need to tell people what night it is.
I would have thought so, I don't know. So let's try and understand whether this Tosafot getting the she's Beru. They will think that here's the amount. What do you mean? They know. So Elama, what did Tosafot learn? Yeah, you were saying something. What were you saying?
I was just saying it was to do with more the mitzvah itself, but that's to do.
So when Tosafot says she's Beru,
Yeah.
yeah, when Tosafot says she's Beru, we're not talking about to notify. I know we live in a generation that we are constantly thinking Chanukah outside have to be for kiruv purposes. People are sure that the reason why I have to light in Golus station or you have to light in the street is because of the people who don't light candles, to warm their hearts and to be character. Not at all. Even if you're in the midst of Nebrak, or even if you're Mea Sharim, and everybody lights, you still have to light the candles outside. Because that was the Tzurat HaMitzvah. They wanted you to publicize amongst the people who are lighting. One more candle people should see. Another candle. That's give Shevach Voda'ah to Hashem. So what about notifying people it's Hanukkah tonight? People knew it's Hanukkah. Now, what does Tosafot means she's Beru? The Lashon is a little bit tricky. She's Beru means that they don't know the right. Tosafot is saying, if the Gemara had required us to light corresponding something, then if that correspondence is not accurate, then you're lacking the correspondence. If you've got an interest of people publicizing or going against the days of Hanukkah, it has to be that you will be accurate in your action or what you're doing, because otherwise you're not corresponding the days of Hanukkah. As simple as that. Patur. Yeah? So, did you get what Tosafot is saying? That means when the Gemara says that you have to light keneged hayamim hanichnasim or keneged yamim hayitzim, that falls. You have to light it in a way that it's left for no different interpretation other than what you're corresponding your lights for. Is that clear? So if you have to do yamim hanichnasim, you have to light accurately, because otherwise, a child, never mind who, it won't be corresponding. Not about they have to know what night of Hanukkah. It won't be. You can interpret this as the members of the household. Not the people who will. They know what night of Hanukkah it is. But it's not corresponding what the Gemara told you has to correspond. That's what Tosafot is saying. The Rambam must have learned.
She is Beru doesn't really fit.
Nothing to do. No.
That's not only she is Beru, it doesn't really fit with
Isberu.
correspondence, the concept of correspondence.
No, Isberu means that if you give it to anybody to interpret how many candles are that, you're not getting the correspondence. Because
You
this could have been for the amount of people in the house.
You wouldn't use that Lashon. You would use Lashon. It's not corresponding. You would say it directly. You would say people will see that it's not corresponding.
You prefer leaving Tosafot in a question? You don't want to do that, do you?
No, but I want to give, I don't know, but I'm just trying to...
Theoretically saying, theoretically. Izberu means it gives room to interpret. That means furthermore, Tosafot wanted us, the people, to know whether you're doing Mehaderin or you're doing this Mehaderin. You understand? So Tosafot says, if you're going to be lighting not accurately, they will think you did the other Mehaderin.
They can never know
But
for sure.
boils down to the reason that I want you to do this special Mehaderin because corresponds a significant thing, the days of Hanukkah.
You can never know for sure, right, if you're doing one or the other. Right, if you have 8 people in the house...
By doing, Tosafot says,
what you're doing.
by doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah.
they will know what you're doing.
Well,
Says Tosafot.
They won't know which they don't know if you're doing the other Hidur.
But there might be children in the
There might
house.
be 8 people in the house, right?
They
and
have to
you're
come
like,
again
okay.
tomorrow. They have to come again the day after. In the sense, they have to see it. You're not expecting to come just once. The Rambam didn't learn like that. The Rambam writes further. Minhag Pashut, which this is a real problem which the Lechem Mishnah comes and intervenes. Now, could we agree, not the Tosafot, not the Rambam would hold that different people in the household light candles. We're talking about one person lighting these candles. Yeah? Says the Rambam, Minhag Pashut. Never does the Rambam do such a thing. He writes a view, he writes what he holds Pshat in the Gemara is, and then he writes Minhag Pashut. It's a minhag, obvious minhag. Bechol arei Sepharad, בכל עלינו ספרד, שיהיו כל אנשי הבית מדליקים נר אחד בלילה הראשון ומוסיפים והולכים נר בכל לילה עד שנמצא מדליק בליל שמיני. מנהג פשוט. מנהג נגד what the Gemara has said. According to the Rambam, there is no option to do this. Either you stick to the members of the household or you increase that every night 10, 20, 30, 40. What is this minhag pashut? The Rambam doesn't challenge this. Had he said, because of a certain difficulty, like the Tosafot says, they wanted to do that, it doesn't say that. The Rambam is going according to his pshat. And the Lechem Mishnah raises this question. The minhag is a minhag ta'ut. Because what are you doing here? You're not doing neither. You're not lighting corresponding to the members of the household. You're not lighting like it says the Mehaderin Min Hamehaderin, because that was a hidur on top of that. I'm going to say a big chidush now. Don't have to be upset with me. Rambam brings the minhag pashut not because of Tosafot, for a different reason completely. I'm trying to accommodate, but we are not doing like the Tosafot. We are actually doing like the Rambam and minhag pashut. It could well be because of poverty, the people couldn't keep to what the Rambam, or the Gemara says, Mehaderin Min Hamehaderin. And we all know about Havdalah, how the Chachamim were lechatchila metaken it in a kos, and then they uprooted it to tefillah, and then they put it back onto the kos. Shi'ur, he'enu. It says, we're talking about hidurim here. The ikar adin mitzvah nerishu beto. He says, they couldn't afford. They couldn't afford it. The Rambam is not worried about Tosafot's issue of Yizberu. That's not his problem, because I couldn't do like 10, 20, 30, 40. I've got no problem. You're lighting for yourself. You're just making more lights outside. I don't care what night. You give him more light, glorifying the miracle. More light. They couldn't afford to light that quantity of lights. It was a lot. But yet they didn't want to leave it without any hidur whatsoever, without increasing the lights. So they took the idea of Bet Hillel, of Mosif V'Olech, but kind of this, they showed the miracle of the 8 days, they were Mosif Nerot to have more light, but not that quantity of lights. And they skipped out so therefore, the Rambam is leaving that as an option. Really, they did Ikar Adin. They lit one every night. But they wanted to give more light, and they wanted to cover also Bet Hillel's opinion. And that's why they increase the lights in a way that they increased the Akun to Bet Hillel only.
Why do you need, so you need each person to do that?
ויש לומר, דמכל מקום לא הווה מנהג בטעות, says the Lechem Mishnah. It's not initially the Lechem Mishnah accused us of doing a minhag b'taut according to Rambam, because Rambam never had Tosafot's question of skipping out the Mehaderin. So for what's he bringing minhag pashut b'chol arei Sfarad to do that? It's nishta'el and nishta'el, let them light one. It says eno minhag kevan de'avdinan kadin, we lighting one. Ve'af al gav de'medina lo ba'e hosafa. Bemet according to din, you don't have to add on anything. Ikar adin is one light every night. Achen nira lanu. למעבד היי פשרה ולעשות הוספה. We couldn't light so many like the Rambam prescribed it, like the Gemara says Mehaderin. We couldn't afford it. So therefore says the Lechem Mishnah, but we wanted to increase. We wanted to do some increase to show that this Chanukah went L'chayil El Chai, Ma'anim B'Kodesh. So therefore, we didn't want to leave it on Ikar Adin, we went a little bit of Hosafa, and then we went on each one. Now, where does the Rambam come with this idea that each one of Bnei Abayit lights, which is not? So we are doing like the Rambam. We do Ikar Adin, but we want to do the Hosafa. We're not doing it as being prescribed in the Gemara because it's too much, but we're doing Hosafa. Yeah? So we do like the Rambam. Why don't we change things and now start lighting 10, 20, 30, 40?
So he would be more, that's what you should do.
That's what Sephardim can do that.
With bracha?
Not with bracha. The Balabai does it.
So he can do that?
Yeah, Balabai should do 10, 20, 30. The Rambam was not concerned about Yisberu. That wasn't his worry at all. Just if you don't want to light so many. Now, the Rama, who Lechora normally follows Tosafot, they consider they are following Tosafot. He had Tosafot's question. Yisberu. How do I notify people? How do I do it in a way where it looks like mechuvan? How do I do the Bet Hillel? You know what Tosafot says? Or I'll get not only light separately, I will get different bodies to light it. By doing that, Tosafot's question is resolved. You said it's not nikar? Of course it's nikar. See? This he's lighting, that he's lighting. And each one is lighting one, the next night two, next night three. So therefore we split up and get different bodies to light it. And therefore it's nikar. The original idea was that you light in the sham, you light all together. 10, 20, 30, 40.
But once it's lit, you don't see.
You see. Here there's a menorah, here there's a menorah, here there's a menorah. And no, you're absolutely right. He's saying something good. And I don't have to be responsible when people are not there when I'm lighting. When you're lighting, that's the hecker. Different people are lighting. So they should be lighting at the same time, really. But different people are lighting. So that's how I've resolved Tosafot's problem. Now, where does the bracha come from?
There was no problem in the first place.
Where does the bracha come from? Where does the bracha come from? Why are they making bracha each one?
Also, only the boys do it. The girls don't do it.
That's very good. Where does it come
And
from?
also the Balabai should still be lighting for those who don't light.
The Choran should be
He
like
should
that,
still
but
be
they don't
lighting
do that.
for the babies. He
They
should
don't
still be
do that.
lighting.
Exactly.
They don't do that because they had Tosafot's
The
problem.
wife doesn't do it.
They followed Tosafot. They had the issue of his beru, so the Balabait wouldn't do that. Unless you can resolve Tosafot's problem by asking someone else to light, you wouldn't light for someone else in the household because of the problem of Tosafot. So they are following
Why
Tosafot.
can't he just light many groups with gaps?
Because if the same person lights with many gaps, again, it won't be nikah. He's doing the lighting, so that people don't see it. That different members, they think that's the members of the household. So you need someone else to light it. So it means they are going at Tosafot really, but they're just solving Tosafot's problem by saying different people will light in different places.
Delegates him.
Huh?
Delegates him.
Yeah. But the problem is, where does the bracha come from? But to that extent, it went that people said, I'm going to split so much that I don't be yourself with what you're lighting. So if that's the case, you've disregarded the first one's light. So how does that become a hidur? Unless you tell me The hidur is that people, generally we say, Berov Hamadat Melech, the more people share one mitzvah, the more glory there's for Hashem. Here, for some reason, we're saying the hidur is, let's split up. And let's make bracha each separately, that we know Yotzeh and this one's lighting. And that takes me to a tough question, which keeps on getting asked year after year. What do yeshiva boys do in yeshiva? What do some girls do in some? What do people who are away from their homes do? Should they light? Can they say, I want to light my own lighting now. I don't want my father to be motzimi and dechova. The Ashkenazim do that. They do that even in the same house. Could we do that? Could we allow someone who's fully supported by me, can he say, thank you very much. Thanks for your support. I did choose to do the mitzvah of Hanukkah myself. Will we tell him, Tfaddal, go ahead, light it with bracha? Or do we say, he never had a chiyuv? Because we never imposed, other than the balabait, one person in the household. So he can't split, because there was never a chiyuv on him. There was never an obligation to him. And that becomes a very big discussion amongst the Achronim. In Halacha L'Maaseh, we advise people, don't make your own bracha. Even if there's hours difference. You can't split because you never have an obligation. Then Ishu Betor, only the Balabait has to light.
If he's in a separate house,
Even if, I say, fully funded by the father, and he's paying and eating from his father, or he's earning his own money. If he's earning his own money independently, and he's paying, and then you're right, he's a Balabait on his own right. So I can lend him a house, I can give him pay rent, but still make it a Balabait. I'm talking about people who are totally funded, they're paying fees to the yeshiva, they're paying fees to the seminary, and they are totally funded by their father. L'chora, it's not so straightforward. They can't split away. They might not have an obligation to light, so how can they make a bracha? On the other hand, it could well be, the father hasn't lit yet, time of lighting has come. Maybe he could, maybe he can't. So the advice is, find someone who does make a bracha, give him a puta, and let him make the bracha. Be mishtatef beputa. And that's it. Find someone and be mishtatef beputa with him. So at least like achsanai. Achsanai, meresh, that's how you do it.
If you're a Mehaderin, you mean?
Yeah.
So you can't give it to some random person.
Now you'll tell me that giving it to an Ashkenazi yeshiva boy who's making a bracha, which I think he shouldn't be making, how can...
You can't even ask him.
Lemaaseh, he's following his minhag. Whether we understand the minhag or don't understand minhag, he's got full right to make bracha. Because that's his minhag. I was just thinking, when Chamabadia writes, if Ashkenazi says Halel on Rosh Chodesh, you shouldn't answer Amen because Safek Amen Nekula. And since it's Machlok, you make the bracha or not, just don't say. Whether you say Amen to the Adlaka of the Ashkenazi boys to say, maybe you won't say Amen. Lemaaseh, I think even Chamabadia will agree here, yes, because he'd probably go with that side if they can split away from the mitzvah of the fair. We won't go into that.